Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. On this channel I teach A Course in Miracles and I'm glad you're here. I hope you're doing well. And where I find myself in this point in time are the initial review lessons. So the review lessons of lessons 1 through 50. And the ones for today, lesson 57, start with the idea, because you're given 5 ideas in these review lessons, right? And the first one is, I'm not a victim of the world I see. Why is that, right? Let's look at it. I'm not a victim of the world I see because of what? It's your world, right? You're the cause of it, right? There is no world apart from what you wish, right? The world is a representation of your own thoughts. It's a projection of your mind. You're seeing exactly what you want to see, right? But the world doesn't hold you prisoner, right? He says that. How can I be a victim of the world that can be completely undone if I so choose? One of the earlier lessons in the workbook is actually I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Really. And the nice thing about this is the only way out of fear that will work. Nothing else works, but this one will work. Not only that, it's again, it's guaranteed to work, is what he's trying to say. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Why is that? Because the world is a representation of my attack thoughts, right? Everything I see is a form of vengeance, right? Whatever you see out there are your thoughts projected outwards, and everything is a picture of attack on attack. But the world is an effect, right? It's not a cause. You're the cause of the world. You see exactly what you want to see, and the world depicts that, right? So of course you're not a victim, right? It's not causing you, you are causing it, right? And that's why changing the world is meaningless, because the world is an effect, right? There's no sense in changing effects if the cause stays the same. It will still be that, right? What he's trying to say is you can change the world by changing your thoughts, right? You change what you're thinking. The next lesson is beautiful. I've invented the world I see. That's why you're not a victim, right? How can you possibly be a victim if you're the cause of the world? You are making it up as you go, huh? The power of thoughts, right? Your thoughts have all the power in the universe. And look at it. You made a world that is not so, right? Beautiful. And then he goes like, well, there's another way of looking at the world. Well, therein lies that change of mind that the workbook is trying to set forth, right? Because here you're taught an entirely new way of thinking that is the opposite of the thinking of the world. And this new way of thinking, and it is new, right? If you're just starting this and you're not used to this, it's an entirely new way of thinking. But don't be concerned, you'll get used to it. But this new way of thinking will set you free. You can just walk out of this world if you like, not by death, but by a change of mind, right? It requires some practice, but that's what the workbook is for, right? That's what the workbook does. It trains your mind in a systematic way to an entirely new way of thinking. And as I just mentioned, that new way of thinking is the opposite of the thinking of the world. But it no longer binds you, it sets you free, because it recognizes that you are the cause of it. And this is not being done to you. Instead, you are doing that to yourself. And the acceptance and recognition that you are the cause of it, right? That is that's what's required to set you free, right? That's freedom, right? Your acceptance that you're doing this unto yourself, that you're not a victim of the world, but that you've invented it, right? And that you can simply change your mind about it and you'll be set free. That's salvation. That's the cause of freedom. So yeah, and then what he talks about in this lesson is so beautiful, because he says, since the purpose of the world is not the one I ascribe to it, there must be another way of looking at it. I love it. Like you're seeing everything upside down, right? You think that the world is a prison for you, right? That you hear that the world was waiting for you when you came and still will be here when you leave. But the fact of the matter is, as he so eloquently points out in the Course in Miracles, the world wasn't waiting for you. You brought it with you when you came, and you'll take it with you when you go. Again, why? Central thought in the Course in Miracles. There isn't any world, right? You're the cause of it. How does he say it? You maker of a world that is not so. Right? I love that. I love A Course in Miracles. Why? Because it's uncompromising, right? It teaches you a new thought system that is the opposite of your thinking as of today, right? And what many of us experience as we practice these lessons is that we become free, right? We feel a happiness and a freedom that this world was never able to give us. And all by changing your mind. Love that. So yeah, it's the opposite, right? It must be then that the world is really a place where he can be set free, the Son of God, you, right? This becomes a place where you'll be set free. Why? Because you forgave it, right? You're forgiving it, and through your forgiveness is everything, including you, set free. Because it has been your thoughts that were binding it, right? I think one of the key lessons, and one of my favorite lessons in A Course in Miracles, is lesson 182. I lose the world from all I thought it was. I lose the world from all I thought it was. And he says, no, it's your thoughts that are binding it, that are enslaving it with your fears. And if you forgive the world, right, for whatever you think has been done to you, because one of the other really nice things that he says in the Course in Miracles is that it's impossible to be unjustly treated, right? You continuously think so, right? Someone says something to you or does something to you, and you think, oh my God, why is this happening to me, right? And you blame him and you blame the world. But the fact is, it is impossible to be unjustly treated. Why? Because you're the cause of it, right? You're the cause of it. Whatever's happening to you, you are the cause of. So yeah, there's another way of looking at the world, and it says, I could see peace instead of this. It's a choice. You see what you want to see. If you see a world of pain, sickness, loneliness, and death, that's because you want to see it. However, when you change your mind, you could see a world of peace. Because behind this world, right, of pain, sickness, loneliness, and death, right, is another entire world of light, love, right, oneness, right. I could see peace instead of this. Beautiful. When I see the world as a place of freedom, I realize that it reflects the laws of God instead of the rules I made up for it to obey, right? He says, no, this world is not reigned by terror and by fear and by all the, call them bad things, if you will. No, it's reigned by love, it's reigned by light, but you just gotta change your mind about it. And then he says the last review lesson for today, which is a very true statement. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy, right? As I share the peace of the world with my brothers, I begin to understand that this peace comes from deep within myself, right? That peace is so available, right? But you have to, for a moment, get in there. You have to kind of clean up your mind. You have to kind of let go of all these false thoughts and false ideas and teach yourself an entirely new way of thinking. Or better, allow yourself to be undone in your old thought system. Because ideas leave not their source, right? They have nowhere to go. The peace of God, the love of God, the memory of God, right? The memory of what you are hasn't left your mind. It's still there. It has nowhere to go. There isn't anything outside of you, right? So when you allow your old way of thinking to be undone, and truly, the initial part of Course in Miracles is an undoing, right? It's an undoing of the way you see now. And when you allow that to happen, your true thoughts, right? The thoughts you're thinking with God, with the universe, can surface within your own mind, right? Can resurface, and you become aware of them. In a truest sense, this is really an expansion of awareness, right? But only because you've limited your awareness with your false ideas, right? With untrue ideas. So yeah, it is a broadening of awareness to include what? Everything. He says it so beautifully. He says, heaven is not a place, It's not a condition, it's not a state of mind. It's an awareness of perfect oneness. The way the world teaches is, it'll say, well, it's a place where you go when you die. That makes no sense, right? You don't go to heaven by dying, right? You go, well, I wouldn't say you go to heaven. I said you become aware that heaven is all around you, right? As he so beautifully states it. Heaven is all around you, right? There isn't anything but heaven. Yet it doesn't appear to be that, right? Certainly this world isn't heaven, right? But then again, remember, this world isn't so. Heaven is an awareness of perfect oneness. Nothing else within, nothing else without. You've lost the awareness. That's why you think you're somewhere else, right? You're in a world where everything just seems to happen to you and you're at its mercy. Not so. Isn't it nice that when you wake up, and certainly in this year, this is the year, 2025, right? There's this big energetic shift going on. And you are part of that, right? You are causing that through your physical and spiritual transformation. Because everything is accelerated. This Course in Miracles is an acceleration of your thought system, right? Everything is sped up, right? You're no longer in slow time. The world is slow time, right? Everything just drags on. There's no solution here. It's just lethargic, right? No. You're being sped up. You're being sped up in your thinking, and everything else is being sped up as well. So it becomes an accumulation, right? Celestial speed up, if you will. That's what's happening at the moment in the world, but it's happening in the world because it's happening in you. But we join in that, right? You're not alone in that, right? Your brothers are here with you. You haven't been left to your own devices. So when we get together for a moment, right, we get together in that realization that we are undergoing a spiritual transformation individually and jointly, right? And that joining, right, that realization, that awareness makes us happy, right? Because, you don't go to heaven alone. That's impossible, right? One of the other beautiful lines in the Course in Miracles, he says something and I'm paraphrasing here, heaven goes with you on your way to heaven, or something like that, right? Everything goes with you. You're not leaving anything behind. That's impossible, right? There isn't anything outside of heaven. There isn't anything here. There isn't anything real. Of course, heaven goes on your way to heaven, with you to heaven. How would it not, right? How would it not? If this makes you really happy, that's a good sign, right? It means you're not resisting the message. Listen, let those who can hear, right? These are the words of Jesus, and this is true, right? Finally, everyone will hear this because this is over, right? In time, it seems to take time, but in reality, this is over, right? It's like the moment the mind thought of war, God gave his answer, and it was accomplished, right? It was repaired. It was done, right? In time, that seems like a long time ago. In reality, this never happens. Well, that's the paradox of eternal life, right? You seem to be in time, and yet this didn't happen. And yet, somehow you got caught in a mistake, right? The way he says it, I'm just thinking I'm paraphrasing. He says, into eternity we're all as one. There crept a tiny mad idea at which the Son of God forgot to laugh, or remembered not to laugh, he says. That's you. You forgot for a moment to laugh, and in your forgetting it became a serious idea. But the fact of the matter was, it was repaired at that moment. But because you somehow got caught in a mistake in time, right, you're reliving that moment. You're reliving that moment of fear when the time of terror took the place of love, right? And everything else is just a constant reliving of that moment. But it was inevitable that one day you would remember, right? That memory of God could no longer be suppressed, and you remember your own inheritance. You remember God, however vaguely, maybe not, right? But however vague or bright that memory is, it was inevitable that it would resurface. It could not not. Well, when is that? That's now. Right? That's now, right? Because there's always just the now, right? There's always just this moment. Past, present, and future are not continuous. Time doesn't pass, right? I mean, there's so many ways to teach this. But this is the time. This is the time of your awakening. This is the time in which you remember. This is the time of your homecoming. It truly is a homecoming, isn't it? It feels like a homecoming. You're coming home. What's the story? When a prodigal son returns, what happens? God runs out to meet him. Right? God is coming to meet you. He's running out to meet you. He's glad you're coming home. He's glad, right? Because this world is not home to you. You've tried. You've built 1,000 homes and none could contain your restless mind. Right? You couldn't find any peace here. Well, how could you? You can't find peace in the midst of war, right? You can't find peace in a place that's not real. Beautiful, huh? What an incredible teaching and what an incredible idea that this is happening to you now. Wow. Huh? So be glad. Be glad, right? I just thought for a moment, in this class, in this lesson, in this video, just to for a moment look at some of these ideas that we're practicing in the Course in Miracles together on a daily basis. And as we practice this, right, our mind expands, our consciousness expands, right? Our mind is being, how shall I say that? Is getting rid of these false ideas, right? Is being corrected. A Course in Miracles is a course in correction of your mind. A miracle is a correction. So thank you for joining me here today. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Leave some comments below. Because finally, I'm just doing these videos for you, right? And for myself, obviously, which is the same thing, right? Giving and receiving are the same. So thank you. I love you. We're not a victim of the world we see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Thank you, and I'll see you the next time.